Hey, it's Medium Jenny Lee, and I'm here with another Raw Contact Volume 1 discussion. So I've read through sessions 5, 6, and 7 because I wasn't able to do a video yesterday. 6 and 7 are fairly long, so I'm just going to do what hopefully will be a short one for number 5. Let's see, where were we when we left off with 4? So yeah, they were talking about healing. The work exists in and of itself. The healer is only the catalyst, much as this instrument is the catalyst necessary to provide the channel for the words. So basically, the healing is available through the law of one at any time. You just need a channel, a healer, to move along, to get it going, to make it work. Just like Carla's having to channel Ra. He refers to this instrument. That's Carla. All right, the healing working is congruent in that it is a form of channeling some distortion of the intelligent infinity. So the healing work is channeled the same way that Carla is channeling Ra. So if we want to think about it as a mediumistic, psychic, spiritual, I would even say religious, having to connect with intelligent infinity in some way is how the healer works, which, you know, any Reiki practitioner is going to tell you that they're not doing it themselves. They're using the energy and spirit to do the healing, which is exactly what they're talking about here. The prerequisite of mental work is the ability to retain silence of self at a steady state when required by the self. The mind must be open like a door. The key is silence. Quieting your mind. Your mind has to be quiet. You can't be up in your head. You can't be thinking about stuff. You gotta be open like a door so that you can let the intelligent infinity in. The disciplines of the mind involve, first of all, identifying both those things of which you approve and the things of which you disapprove within yourself, and then balancing each and every positive and negative charge with its equal. The mind contains all things, therefore we must discover the completeness within yourself. I would say that is not just looking at the good things, not just looking at the wonderful things, not just looking at the light and the love and the happiness, but having to go discover all your negative aspects. What a lot of people in the spiritual community like to call shadow work. I also like to think of as having to deal with traumas, you know, in some capacity, having some sort of therapy to process those traumas is working through all the negative things. So Ra is saying you have to have the discipline of your mind in all the aspects. What we think of as good and bad, light and dark, you have to know it all, be aware of it all, balance it all. The second mental discipline is acceptance of the completeness within your consciousness. Because we can't change our attributes. We don't choose our attributes. We can't change our attributes. So we have to be accepting of them. We have to be accepting of our flaws. We have to be accepting of our shadow, of our dark, of our negative. So not only seeing it, knowing it, balancing it, but accepting it. Accepting it. Man, is that hard. The third discipline of the mind is a repetition of the first, but with the gaze outward toward the fellow entities that it meets. So understanding balances with other entities. So I was actually just having this conversation with my therapist recently, that one of my big revelations in my personal therapy journey is this accepting part. Accepting that there is bad things that happened, accepting where I came from and what I had to go through. And then I turned it outward. So realizing that all the things that have happened in my life allow me to relate to others. And in a lot of ways, especially the bad stuff. You know, I've lived so many different ways in my 40 years already. I lived in a horrible, awful, terrible neighborhood in poverty where like gangs and God knows what else, because I was little and I don't remember it all. And then I've lived a normal suburban childhood. And then I've lived the struggling early 20s back in the ghetto. And then I've lived poor white trash in a trailer park. And then I've lived as a military wife. And then I've lived as a college graduate with a middle-class income. So I've had all these different experiences just in this short span of time. And the good and the bad balance out. And I am able to relate to people, to almost anybody. So, and you know, and I'm at this point talking about living people. I can relate to almost anybody that I come across because I've lived so many different ways in this life. And when you're doing healing work, having experienced the bad things yourself helps you relate, understand, accept, and help heal the people that you come across that have also experienced the bad things. But in this case, Ra is talking about when you come across other entities through the intelligent infinity that aren't in the physical. I mean, it might be referring to both, but thinking about it in this other way too, this psychic medium channeling, we're all one, everything's one way. Being able to recognize, relate, understand an entity that you can't see, that you're only experiencing through your senses and your knowing, is the same. It's the same. It's the same. It's relating to their energy, feeling their energy. And then the last part of this is being accepting of those other entities. So you have to do all of it for yourself first. And then you have to do it with others, whether it's living, deceased, or other, because it's all part of the intelligent infinity. It's all one. Okay. The second area of learning and teaching is the study, understanding of the body complexes. It's necessary to know your body well. This is a matter of using the mind to examine your feelings, biases, emotions, and how they affect portions of your body. So I think, early in the last session, we were talking about knowing your physical body and how the energy systems work and how the chakras work and how the energy fields work and et cetera, et cetera. But here Ra's also talking about knowing how your feelings and your biases affect your physical body. The body is a creature of the mind's creation. It has biases. The biological bias must be first completely understood, then the opposite bias allowed to find full expression and understanding. Again, the process of the body as balanced as well as polarized individual may then be accomplished. So fully understanding your own emotional biases, biological biases, and I don't completely understand what all that means, but balancing your body. I think we could think of that as health and wellness for sure. And then here's a place where I wrote, huh? So let's read this one together and let me know if you can make any sense of it. It is then the task to extend this understanding to the bodies of other selves whom you will meet. So understanding their bodies. I got that. The simplest example of this is the understanding that each biological male is female and each biological female is male. This is a simple example. Are you sure? Are you sure that's a simple example? Each biological male is female and each biological female is male. I think that the new generation of children that are in the preteen, teen, and early 20s completely understands this because they are living it. And in a lot of ways, people can say whatever they want to say about transgender and all the different labels that they have for themselves, which I'm not even going to pretend that I know what all of them are. Like, I'll have my students explain them to me sometimes, but my brain can't retain all of it yet. I really wonder if what they're experiencing isn't just some because there's all these different theories of why people would want to be change their gender or feel like they're a different gender or whatever, and depending on who you ask, you get a different answer, right? But I wonder if this isn't part of it, that this infinite intelligence, this infinite intelligent infinity, all is one, we're all the same, isn't part of what they're experiencing. I don't know if it's come up yet in the sessions because, I'm going over session 5, but I've read 6 and 7. At some point, Ra says that even in 1981, we were already in a fourth density. We had already moved into a fourth density. And let's go back and review what that means. All right. So the third density is basically what we think of as life on Earth. A physical body with a mind and a soul, and realizing that you have a soul, and you either decide to be of service to yourself or service to others. But the fourth density is reaching a level of love and understanding. And it's where social memory complexes are born, where thoughts become things and the negative positive polarities separate from each other to inhabit environments more suitable to their respective and divergent courses of evolution. So in 1981, Ross says we're already in a fourth density. And I don't think that's come across in the sessions yet. So if in 1981 we're already living in a fourth density, then now that it's 2022, wouldn't we have evolved quite a bit more? You know, that's 41 years ago. What if, and you know, and I cannot speak for anybody that's transgender or any other of the titles or labels that they have given themselves. I cannot speak for any of them because I haven't lived that. I don't know it. I don't, and to be honest, I don't all the way understand it. I am completely accepting of that, of them, and that they want to live that way, and I have no issues with that. Actually, it's one of the things that I make sure I strive to be for my kids at school, because it's happening more and more and more at a higher rate. You know, I've been a teacher for 7 years. In my first year teaching, I think I had, my first year teaching, I don't think I had any kids that considered themselves to be transgender. And then like the second year, maybe there was one, and I could tell that there was like another one that wanted to be, but wasn't ready. And now fast forward, I'm going to be going into my 8th year teaching. Every class has transgendered kids in it. Every class has like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. And what I'm trying to get at, where I'm stumbling over, trying to figure out my here. What if this younger generation of souls, incarnate souls, has just realized this in a deeper way? That because we're all the same thing, we're all one entity, that there really is no male or female. Every biological male is female, and every biological female is male. What if they're just experiencing that on a different level? Because we're evolving through this fourth density. There's some food for thought. Let me know what you think. Let me know. And if you happen to be watching this and you are transgender or one of those other categories that fits into that category, let me know what you think. You know, because I don't know. I mean, I said I don't know. I don't know. I can't speak for that. Because out of all the things I've experienced in my life, that is one thing I haven't experienced. I've experienced a lot of things. But so if you're watching, let me know. Okay, next. So it's the end of the session, and once again, Dawn asks, can we make Carla more comfortable? And this is what Ross says this time. So you remember they're using a candle as part of their items that they have above Carla's head to help her become less distorted so that she can channel better. Ross says, the candle must be rotated clockwise approximately 10 degrees each session to improve the flow of spiraled energy through the bean's receiving mechanisms. So there's spiraled energy, first of all. What does that mean? Okay, I don't know. And then it needs to be rotated 10 degrees each session so that the energy coming to Carla is received better. And then it says, we ask the objects described be centered with geometric care and checked from time to time. Also, that they not be exposed to space-time in which work is not of importance. So only use them for the things that they're doing through this channeling sessions, and that they need to be placed in a specific way. And this was my revelation for this session. Is that why I feel the need to place stones in certain configuration? When I'm doing my personal readings for people, I'll pick X number of stones, just whatever crystals and gemstones that I'm called to pull. And when I lay them out, they have to be put in a specific way. And I know that they're in a specific way when I look at them, and I know that they're right. Which, to somebody who's never done anything like that before, you would probably be like, have no idea what I'm talking about. Let me put it in a way that you might understand if you happen to be a creative person. So when you're making something, the thing you're making lets you know when it's done. When I'm making a painting or a drawing, I know when it's finished when I look at it and it looks finished. There's no imbalances. There's no glaring errors. When you're making something, when you're making a recipe, you test it, you try it, you add a little more. Maybe you need to take something out. You change it until when you taste it, it tastes done. When you're making a piece of music, you know it's done when you hear it and it sounds finished. Now, some creative people never will ever feel like anything's finished. That's very true. But that is the sensation that I get when I'm working with the gemstones and the crystals. When I lay them out, I move them around in configurations, combinations, patterns, whatever, and I know that it's done when I look at it and it looks like it's in the right place. And that gives me so much validation reading that part in the book, that Ra's telling them to put her items in a very specific way. So, you know, and a lot of spiritual people already know all this. You know, there's crystal healing, crystal grids, all kinds of stuff. So this is not new information to a lot of people. People who do crystal healing are probably like, duh, you know. But to me, who I haven't studied crystal healing or crystal grids, I'm just doing it off my own intuition and connecting to spirit. So I feel like that makes more sense to me. Anyway, that was session 5. Don't forget, join in on the discussion. Put in your comments, your questions, your thoughts. What do you think about all this so far? Don't forget there are more sessions, previous sessions. There should be 5 previous discussions that we've gone over, and the 2 contacts, first and second contact, and the Twitch highlights, if you haven't watched them yet. That was our contact with Ra. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll be back with some more discussions. See you later. Bye-bye.